Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Nobody look at Ali. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the
Nice
RPGeeks
save, Ali.
Podcast listeners.
Swallow it.
Missing out on
Swallow it, like a good boy.
Banana in his mouth, trying to look casual. Having eaten it very quickly before we started.
We're back.
Yes, it is indeed us, the RPGeeks, back with our Dungeons and Dragons and Science campaign set in the sci-fi world of Braxigantu. For those who don't know us,
Braxigantu.
thank you. For those who don't know us, we are 4 professional science communicators. We love to play D&D and to talk about the science behind some of the sci-fi concepts that come up in the game. We are beginning now, excitingly, our third and final chapter of this particular story. These particular characters.
God, it's exciting! It's so exciting.
There's so much going on.
If we've got any new listeners or viewers, don't worry. You'll catch up. This is a self-contained adventure, so you should be all right to jump in. So we're gonna introduce ourselves and our characters. I've forgotten.
Are we doing our characters?
I can't remember.
No, we do us
No.
now. We do the character. I also think we should introduce each other. We always introduce ourselves.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to who wants to introduce who?
I'll introduce Emily Bates.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
Worried.
wanted to introduce Emily.
Why does no one want to introduce me?
I want to introduce you. I want to introduce Shamini.
Thank you, Emily.
This is going to be so not confusing for viewers.
I'm
will
going to have to end up
introduce-
introducing myself. It's
No, you're
like
not.
being the
Introduce
last
Ali.
person picked.
And Ali introduce Simon.
What?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
that
Yeah,
works.
it's perfect.
I
Yeah.
can't do Simon's patter. It's so good.
You don't need to. You just have to pretend.
You don't
Yeah.
have to do an
I'll-
impression
I'll
of
just-
him.
I'll
Yeah,
just
you're not
let
doing
my
an
mind
impression.
go.
We're just introducing. We're
It's not
wasting
first
valuable
person.
D&D
Okay.
time, people.
There is no spoon. I'm just going to.
Listen, one of the top players in this game is Ali Jennings, the
He's not even a
amazing.
player. He's the only one that's not a player.
Master. Okay, I've failed already. I've gone so badly
Fate
wrong.
Weaver.
Ali Jennings, the Fate Weaver of the Braxigantu world, is a science video and audio producer and all-round great guy.
Good.
Ali.
I'm Simon Clark.
No, you're
No,
not.
you're not.
I
That's
do
not.
things like that. I doctor when I'm not just Mister, and I 7 and book I write is
Wow.
very good word. And
Good
I don't
word.
have it.
I'm a science man. Emily Bates.
Spot on. That's why.
Hello, I'm Emily
also-
Bates, but I'd like you to meet.
Wait, surely I introduced
Shamini.
Bates.
No, I'm about to introduce.
'Cause I was just
I'm
introduced.
introducing Shamini.
Are we not going around in the order, like carrying
okay.
on?
Yeah, go around in the order. Yeah,
Yeah.
Simon, you go. I'll shut up. Right. It's a nice circle.
That was
This is
Emily
always
Bates you
this
just heard, who's a wonderful ray of sunshine and science communicator and works in all of the media and has an amazing collection of rum. And she will now introduce...
I don't have that much rum. I have a lot of tequila. I want to introduce Shamini. Shamini Bandel.
Oh,
she
I've
is
misunderstood this.
fantastic. You
Yes,
did
you
entirely
did, Ali.
misunderstand it,
Now I picked up.
Ali's got a lot on his mind today. He's running the whole game.
He failed that
Shamini
perception check.
is like an amazing video science producer. She is so wonderful, and if you're not watching the stream, she's so beautiful, and I love her so much. And she always dresses up, and it's so cute. And she's perfect. And she also plays in so many tabletop role-playing games that you can find online, including, and I'm going to plug it for you, 3 Black Halflings latest campaign, which is so exciting, and we're so proud of you.
And not only that, but
Another one?
today
Oh,
I am doing the D&D brief.
that's right, you are.
We're rolling on, people.
Very good. Only I remembered that and said that in your intro. That would have been perfect.
It was good. So, if anyone doesn't know, as explained before, we talk about the science behind our stories, our characters, our spells, our world. We basically try and come up with scientifically plausible explanations for everything that happens in the game, all the like character feats and abilities that we've taken. And my character, Tenebris, is a aberrant mind sorcerer. And I have basically previously revealed sort of half of the science that I sort of conceived of when I was designing her. The plot relevant science that we've talked about so far is the existence of a colony of microorganisms. And I basically talked a lot about slime mold as a kind of organism that can sort of separate out into tiny cells, but also come together into a sort of superorganism. Yes, Simon.
A question.
Ready for the questions.
What is the difference between a slime mold and a regular mold?
Good question.
Because you always hear about slime molds as being their own thing, but I'm not a bioman.
They're made of totally different
right?
cells. They're completely different organisms.
And why are they both called moulds?
Is this like everything being
Boom.
called a fish,
I don't
even though there's
know.
no such
I don't
thing?
think mold is a single thing, right?
There is
Don't
such
plug,
thing as
don't
a
plug,
fish.
plug
Slime
other
mold
podcasts.
I think is a group of organisms. I'm not actually even sure if they're all like related. Whereas mold, is it a single thing? Is it always fungi?
Mold is a type of fungus,
Yeah,
which
okay.
grows on stuff and eats things and is made of fungal cells, whereas a slime mold is made of amoebae, basically, isn't it?
Oh.
Like all ganging together into like a gang of amoebae.
Excellent.
Ooh,
Ali, are you doing
mould.
that thing where you say things really confidently, even though you're not entirely sure?
I am not sure, but
Okay, yeah.
Have you
Mold
met
is
white
actually
men?
technically not the
Yes,
species.
exactly.
Mold is the structure that different funguses form.
Oh,
Right, interesting.
oh, so they form a mold. Fungus forms
Yeah.
a mold.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one.
Was I
of-
right about the amoebae stuff? Because I think I'm right about that.
Who knows?
Yes, you're right. Slime molds were formerly classified as fungi. They're not, in fact, monophyletic. They are, not all entirely related to each other, what we would call slime molds. And they are eukaryotic. Does that make them amoeba? Let me look up the...
no, eukaryotic doesn't make them, but they are, yeah.
I am not qualified for this
They're
discussion.
single.
Welcome to biology
single cell
time. Simon loves it.
organisms.
The lone physicist of the pack gets picked off by the wolves of ignorance.
Anyway, so I basically said, right,
Simon!
slime mold type creatures. Tenebris is sort of surrounded at all times by these tiny invisible organisms. They're like on her skin, they're in the air, they're on all of you because you're near her. Sorry. They're just floating.
Don't
Wait,
rub
wait.
them, it excites them.
Oh no.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about that.
That's not canon.
Ali.
But that doesn't explain actually how Tenebris can do all her various spells, sorcerer spells, a lot of psionic spells. Aberrant Mind sorcerers have all these psychic abilities basically, so she can talk to people telepathically, read people's minds, make them see horrific visions. And so, does anyone have any ideas, or have I hinted at it all? How this works, because I wondered if you had any theories.
I was really hoping
Yeah.
it was all going to end up being like cold reading and kind of all just be bullshit psychic stuff. But I think it's been strong enough that it's not that. Well, I assume they have some way of crossing the blood-brain barrier. That's my personal theory. Because they have to get into the brain somehow, surely, if they want that kind of effect.
Okay, so that is a question. I was going to leave that question as later, but that is a huge question that I haven't fully decided on the answer of. But that was not how I originally conceived of them. But you're right; it's all about affecting the brain.
Yeah,
clearly. Now, modern science, to give this a base,
I can hear Ali typing and googling things.
I 100% want to know some stuff.
So
I really want to know some
I
stuff.
will say Ali is the neuroscience background here. So I spoke to Ali earlier in the day. And I was like,
My degree mean nothing to you.
Oh God! I developed this with Ali slightly.
Ali has a PhD in neuroscience.
so-
I have a bachelor's, so it's
It means nothing now.
Dr. Ali Jennings.
All that means is that
They've
Ali
never taken
also likes neuroscience, but doesn't it's gets into things that are way too big and stupid and doesn't know when to stop. That's all a PhD
Yeah.
means.
Yeah.
I like
And has now got the
brain.
Put all your
confidence to
head.
say things confidently about which he knows
Yeah.
nothing.
Hey, I've said blood-brain barrier. I am done for the day. That's my neuroscience knowledge. You're welcome.
Good. That was good.
I remember
Okay.
that.
I had to look into the blood-brain barrier once as a kind of part of my PhD.
I would kind of
and
hope
it's made of
so.
oh.
What's it made of? What's it made
Kind
of?
of
What's the blood-brain barrier? I've heard of it, but what is it?
Sorry, Ali. You.
Is it?
It's 3 different kinds of cells, right? So basically, it's pericytes, and then astrocytes, which sit around
What's the
all of those.
cell?
Why don't you know?
It must have been. It
Parasites.
was some sort of. Did you not hear? It was the and there's some sort of reception going on. I
Oh,
don't know.
the-
Someone making noises.
Sounds.
But the
Cells.
oh, I know what it is. So hang on. There's a pericyte, which basically is the.
I'm gonna Google it while you.
Do you just do that? Because essentially, right, there's the
Blood-brain
lining
barrier,
of the
it's
blood
cool.
vessel. Blood vessels have cells which line their walls, right?
Yeah.
And I've forgotten what those are called. Then outside that, you have the next set of cells, which basically controls the constriction of the blood vessels and provides a layer.
That is the
A layer
parasite.
around it of protection. So that's the parasite, right? Thank you. And then around that is the astrocyte, which basically senses what's going on there and can transfer nutrients which comes through the blood-brain barrier to the neurons, right? That's part of what they do. So
And
it
like the
forms a sort of
central nervous
triple
system
layer.
is the
Yeah, it's a triple layer of cells. So it's not a single sort of barrier, and it is permeable, like stuff goes through all the time.
but not everything. And that's the key. It lets certain things through, but not
Can
everything.
bacteria get through? Are there any horrible?
Some can, but not many. So
Exactly.
they have to be pretty nasty to get through. Opioids can get through. That's why they're so addictive, because they get straight into your brain.
Ooh.
But most drugs don't.
And this presumably is what is allowed
The
through
good ones
is based
do.
on sort of on chemistry rather than like physical size. Because if you're looking at like the lung blood barrier, that's based on how large particles are. Like-
It's
Because I'm guessing this is like
Hang on.
it's that things are coated in certain chemicals that are allowed passage through.
Hold up.
it's the end of
What?
it's the lining of it's the first lining that lets stuff through.
Right.
So I think it's absorption, right? So it is
It's the
so yeah, it would be
size.
chemistry, yeah. So it would and then but
there's
there's
two ways of
definitely
going
there's
through,
definitely
right?
receptors. There's definitely receptors that can let stuff through too.
There's
But
two ways of
I-
like
hang on.
certain molecules. Certain molecules can diffuse through the membrane, like oxygen, right? That's how they get into the lungs.
And the brain.
Larger molecules and charged molecules can't get across the non-charged plasma membrane of the cells, so they tend to have a channel unless they go through the space between the cells, which tend to be locked off pretty tight. But sometimes they do break, and that's how they can get through as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tenebris's
There is one
powers
other way,
are
but-
somehow utilizing the flaws in that security system of the brain, basically.
Come on,
Ali has
you've
a
got your hand
question.
up, Ali. The podcast can't hear your hand up.
There's another way. If you could pierce the skin of the skull and pierce the dura mater, which is the sort of hard bit which covers the brain, you could get down to the surface of the brain without having to go through the blood at all.
That is one way of doing it, yes.
Ooh.
So you can
You
go up
could
through
squeeze your way in.
So I actually started off not even thinking that far. So one option is that these microscopic organisms are like sending out like little filaments or like pseudopodia that are like drilling down through into people's heads through.
Oh no! Never cast a spell on
Right.
infinity ever. Thank you.
Sorry.
Don't you want to be don't you want to calm infinity?
How would
That's
an
what makes you
android be
calm.
calmed, however, if it's
Well, we're never going to get into that. That's the reason to never cast a spell on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some extent, you wouldn't need to get in there because you're gonna have to tell me about this, Ali, but like EEG, like let's say we're trying to work out how to like read someone's mind, detect thoughts, is like a little skull cap of little sensors that's entirely external and that is sensing the electrical signals that are coming from certainly the outer layer of the brain.
you mean
You don't have an EEG.
No.
one
As
like
if you have an EEG. Why do you have an EEG?
Yeah, put it on.
Props.
Put it on for
Amazing.
demonstration
hang on,
purposes.
for video viewers can see me put this on.
Podcast listeners, Simon is looking at a cap. He
Okay.
appears to be trying to work out how to put it on. He's put it on. He's got some strings up. Oh my
He
god,
looks like a
he
swimmer.
looks ridiculous.
good God.
It is
That
perfect.
beautiful.
It's got like a rainbow
Half swimmer,
string at the
half
back. I think it's the wires, but they look lovely.
I haven't actually put this on yet. I look like I'm in some
What's it
kind of
for?
like
You need to get some
Why
gel,
do you have
some
this?
conductivity gel.
I do have some gel actually. So
Lube.
I am,
Simon held up a
Gel
tub
for
of
the
lube.
EEG, Sam.
that's the only other thing in this box is
KY
a list
jelly.
of people who have paid for my stag do. So this looks like I'm having a hell of a good time.
Organisation. Yeah, great.
Why do you have an EEG? Answer the
What's
question.
this for? Yeah.
This is for a video, which I mean, I'm going to announce. No one's going to nerd snipe me because no one's probably capable of doing it. I'm going to build
No
a
one's
pattern
capable of doing it.
build a pattern recognition machine learning software that will allow me to train it on me playing Tetris with the intent of me being able to control playing Tetris with my mind.
Brilliant. People have done stuff like that.
No one else is capable of
No
doing
one's going
it.
to snipe
They've done
that.
it
It's
before.
done already. Yeah.
But no one's done it on YouTube.
Fair. Valid.
That's
So-
100%.
Well, I mean,
hey,
that's perfect though, isn't it? Because that's not just that's what I was getting into, which is like brain-computer interfaces, right? Training in our case, like machines to read the signals and then translate them into playing Tetris, or like a really useful function is if people are paralyzed and they need to communicate, they can get computers to recognize the brain signals and transform that into working out their movements, working out letters. And there was one last year, I think, where a paralyzed person sort of tried to speak, is unable to move, but they're taking the signals from, the mouth and the throat and all that, and turning that into text.
Yeah, there's some amazing stuff they're doing with brain-computer interfaces now. It's very cool tech, I have to say.
I think if the computer can read your brain, my little colony can read your brain.
Well, the thing is, right, and to justify that, like, I feel like the advances with that technology, it hasn't actually been the physical sensing technology. It has been entirely in how it's processed.
Yeah.
And if
it's knowing what signals mean what is the problem.
And it is a machine learning, that's ideally what you use machine learning for. So if we can say that a slime mold has some kind of emergent behavior that is effectively like training, some kind of machine learning algorithm, then I could buy it.
And then, so my big thing with that though is then how are all the different slime molds communicating with each other, or are they one? Are we treating them as one organism?
So that is an issue as well. So I'm thinking that they're based very much on generating and manipulating and sensing electric currents, because obviously that's what's sort of going on in your brain. That would be a way for them to, if they were all sort of close enough to each other, to communicate and form a superorganism, even if they're not literally like touching each other, that they're sort of spread out over such an area.
Okay.
And I kind of like the idea that because they're so big and because you can create this superorganism, that you could create some kind of intelligence that wouldn't be possible with each single individual one. Yeah, that's really interesting.
That's the thing with like robotics and stuff. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are still a couple of problems with the like using brain-computer interface type stuff as an example. One of them is, at the moment, those kind of things do involve electrodes being implanted into your brain. That's not done through external
Get
things.
those pseudopodia into my mind.
But yeah,
I feel like that's just a technological breakthrough away though.
Yeah,
I feel.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which is kind of like machine learning, slightly. Ali disagrees.
I just wanted to.
I disagree.
I think you've always got to get into the brain. Got to get in there. Got to find out what's going on.
I think external is never going to be enough.
Yeah, because there's just no way of getting down to the resolution of a single cell's electrical output after it's been through a layer of blood and brain and
well, not at the moment.
And everything, right?
But that's my point. Like, not at the moment. That feels like the kind of thing.
Only looking externally,
future.
Then your ability to sort of spatially locate a single signal.
No, of course, it's much more difficult. We're not even close to being able to do it now. But
you think it's
I don't know if that's necessarily a forever problem. Like, we can already go through the skull and ignore that. Yeah, I don't.
But also, are we not still all talking about observing, not interfering with the system?
So
yes.
My sort of claim on that is if you can manipulate electrical currents enough to observe and read them, you can manipulate them enough to influence them.
You're not manipulating them, you're reading them. There's a difference.
But this is the point, right? If you can generate an electric current, you can also generate a magnetic field.
Correct.
So I'm assuming that each of these microorganisms, again, this is kind of how they're communicating, right? They're not just sensing, they're generating electricity. And there are bacteria that generate electricity. And I found a whole thing
Seems
about it.
right.
I did not have time to read bacteria that eat electricity and all sorts of clever things.
Oh, no, bacteria that eat electricity. Prepare.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Because what you're effectively proposing is, I'm going to massively simplify this. The brain is a box full of charged things. Like,
kind of true.
There are
Which
ions
are
just in a box. So
and
if you're going
switches,
to have very precise patterns of electrical electrical current, that will have a magnetic field associated with it, and that will move those charges.
That is exactly what the brain is.
That exists. That's a technology that exists.
Yeah.
Is it? Wait, what?
But you can manipulate your brain. You can put like a current on your skull and make yourself like not be able to speak and things like that if you put it on like
even from the outside.
Yeah.
It's called transcranial magnetic stimulation.
I couldn't remember the name of it. That is it.
Wow.
It generates a magnetic current which interferes with
you
the
can like
electrical
put it on
movement of the
Broca's
ions.
area and watch people go like and just fail to speak.
So cool.
Like
Do that on
permanently?
video.
No, just as long as it's there, they take it off and they're fine again.
Unethical.
It's amazing.
Disrupting, because I thought like actually just disrupting brain activities would be really useful for. I haven't got any spells that specifically do that. I've got like spells that kind of like freak you out and spells that make you like see wacky things.
But that all makes sense. That all could.
I've had an amazing idea, he said modestly.
no.
Listen, right? So you know, like, okay, so if the bacteria are basically on the surface of your head, the likelihood that they're going to be able to generate a magnetic field that's powerful enough to reach the stuff going on in the inner bits of the brain, right? Difficult. But what about this? What about this, right? The brain is massively interconnected, right? And lots of different regions will basically feed back to other regions and connect at different ones. Yeah. If you knew the exact way that it was connected and you knew exactly the timing of how to stimulate them, you could you could use the connections to stimulate bits of the brain that were deeper or further away or anything like that. Am I making sense?
You only
this
need
is a
to reach
revelation
the
I'm having.
You mean you only need to reach certain neurons because all the neurons are connected. So if you stimulate the right ones, they will stimulate
Make
the
a
other
pathway.
In the
ones.
right timing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You could just stimulate the outside and reach everywhere.
That does bring me into another problem I had with it. That's currently when you're training like a computer to understand what someone's thinking or whatever it is, to read minds, say, it has to be trained on that specific individual.
Yeah,
that is very true.
So I feel like there's an interesting question of how different our brains are and how different all our brains work inside, and how much you can generalize. Because at the moment, an AI can kind of generalize, but like has to then kind of like, it's kind of bad until it.
It's pretty bad.
Like,
it's not everyone is not the same.
I'd be interested to know though, like, because presumably you can train a model from absolutely random weights to the point where it's maybe guessing 50% of the time, like what the activation is correctly.
You can train on other people.
But then like if you gave it to different people, let's say it was a 50% accuracy on me, would it still be 50% on you? Because obviously if you're trained to be 100% accurate on me, it would never be 100% accurate on someone else. But are the gross structures of the electrical fields approximately the same?
There's approximate areas that definitely do approximate things. But again, we're still not entirely convinced about what links to what. So why activating one area, and some people might activate another one, but it doesn't in everyone. Like, you have like your occipital lobe where you process vision, right? That is pretty much at the back of your head for everyone. Like it would be very weird to find someone who didn't have it there. But this is one of the big problems of neuropsychology. You kind of have to wait for something to go wrong to work out what a bit of the brain does, because we're not allowed to do that. It's not nice to break off bits of living people's brains. You're not allowed.
And it's an interesting diagnostic idea. Sorry, Shams.
I was just going to say that like some people's brains are wired differently due to injury or something, and then they're plastically forced to like work around it.
So
neuroplasticity.
It's an interesting diagnostic idea. If you had an AI which had a percentage accuracy on one person's brain, and then you went around testing how accurate it was on other people's brains, so that you could build up a sort of map of how closely the brains were kind of structured, and then you could use that to be like, oh, I wonder what else they're similar in, or it's new phrenology.
But that's the main point, right? It's the neuroplasticity, because everyone's brains form specifically and change dependent on what you do, environmental factors, genetic factors, so many things. You're never going to get an accurate model of every brain. You could press this button, you could zap here, and then they would be fine. So I guess If your little colony is so advanced that it can basically read thoughts, surely it can work out they're doing a certain thing, and therefore that area is connected to this kind of thing. It involves a very high level of intelligence for your colony.
World building question here is that what if the slime mold colony is like thousands of years old? It's just being replenished constantly with new organisms in it, but it's like
the same organism.
Oh, and passing down all knowledge to generations.
Like that culture has a culture of its own.
Would you like breaking science?
Culture.
Yeah.
So the day this comes out, we are pre-recording. Sorry, everyone. This will be live now, so I can say it. The embargo is definitely. We go out on Monday, correct? Can everyone just confirm that? Okay, good. So in Sydney, they've had a problem with cockatoos opening bins and eating all the rubbish inside, right? And so the cockatoos open these bins and like tear all the food up. And this was like 2 years ago. They were like filming it and being like, the residents were panicking and trying to work out how to stop it. And it started with like a few cockatoos doing it, but it spread among the population of Sydney. So they all learned the behavior. And then there's a new paper that has just been released where humans are now doing the same thing the cockatoos did in order to stop them. So someone started like putting bricks on top of their thing, and then everyone started doing that. The cockatoos learned how to get the bricks off, so they don't work. That's not working well. And now the humans have found a new way to stop the cockatoos.
Arms race.
And the researchers basically being like, they're doing exactly the same culture that the cockatoos were doing, being like, we have a problem. These people have worked a solution out. Oh no, we'll all do it. And I just thought it was really, so that is that like learned, passed on cultural behavior, right? So maybe it's that, but with a lot more complex reading people's minds.
Isn't that the initial definition of a meme? That's what that is.
Yeah, it's a subunit of information that's propagated through a culture.
Is that what a meme is?
Yeah, it's the companion to a gene. A gene is like a subunit of information genetically. A meme is a subunit of information culturally.
Just thought it was stupid pictures. I didn't realise there was a real reason it was called a meme. That's great. Yeah. Etymology corner.
Thanks, Richard Dawkins, for something.
I was going to say, are we going to say his name? Are we? Give credit.
But did you have anything else that you wanted to raise? W/R/T slime molds.
I wanted to just share my favourite article that I found during this, which is like a 7-year-old paper. Which is tangentially relevant, but I loved it, which was, this is not one of my abilities, but scientists gave mice happy memories while they were asleep.
Oh my God, it's Blade Runner.
So what they did was, they basically made them associate a particular place with a reward, but they did it while they were dreaming, or certainly while they were sleeping. Maybe I'm not sure actually while they were dreaming, because as the mice sleep, so in the brain you've got place cells and you've got like individual neurons that light up relating to individual like places in the world, in space. And those, when the mice are sleeping and they've been to that place during the day, those neurons flash, kind of like maybe like they're going over the information. So what they did was they made it so that every time the neuron of a particular like corner of the enclosure was activated, they also activated the reward centers of the brain. This is by sticking electrodes.
I wish someone would do that to me. It would be so nice.
It's kind of sad because then these mice had these like happy, like, yeah, that's a great place. Yeah. So then the mice like woke up and they went over there like expectantly, like I guess they thought like something good.
Oh yeah, maybe no, I don't want that. Okay, right? No, I take it back.
I don't know if they got rewarded when they got there.
Corporate dystopia.
I was going to say, I feel like they need to be.
Your company that you work for could stimulate the part of your brain that makes you think of The Office. And you wake up, oh boy, I can't wait to go to work today.
And then you get there and you're like, why did I want this?
Yeah.
But then you start to live for the dreams of The Office. All you want to do is come back home and dream of the loveliness of The Office.
I love nice dreams.
That becomes your life.
Get into people's dreams though. If you can start manipulating people's dreams, I mean, I feel like that's a whole nother character in that, some sort of like dream sorcerer.
Oh, right? For sure.
Like,
chaotic good Freddy Krueger.
I think there's a dream cleric now.
Really pointless when awake.
Yeah.
Guys, I know we've got to get into the back but can we just wait until it's night?
Consistently casting sleep. Just like sleep. Sorry, every day. Sleep.
I tried to look up, so I can cast sleep. So I tried to look up, like, what neurons would I have to activate in people to cast sleep on them? And like, I thought it'd be really simple. I thought it'd be really basic. I thought it'd be like the sleep neurons. It's like, no,
counterpoint.
It's really complicated.
Does it work if someone is unconscious rather than just asleep? Because if so,
we've had this whole
depends on the brain
unconscious v
waves.
sleep. It is different. It is different.
Damn it! So we can't just go around kicking people in the balls. They fall over unconscious, and then we get good memories in their brain.
Surprised you would kick them. Surely the punch is the better move.
Punch to the ball.
The real move is the reverse headbutt to the balls.
To the balls. So wait, you basically have to get on all fours, hope they come over you, and then just go.
Ah! Just always
when
engage
you do
people
the
in streets with manholes.
Uriel can do it if he cosplays himself as a bollard. He'll just wait for people to be nearby.
With a little bald head, a bit painted with
and everyone will come over and go, "What's that barcode?" And they'll be like, "Pa!"
Taste it. For new listeners, taste the barcode is a catchphrase for Uriel.
The catchphrase used precisely once, I think.
In the first episode.
You said it. We remembered it the other day.
It's a
we were
callback.
that was a good slogan. We should use that more.
Yeah.
What a great...
So that was our D&D brief for this episode. As we continue on with chapter 3, everyone will be rotating and picking a different element of their character or of their world and discussing the science behind it. But now, after the break, we will be moving on to the actual play D&D section of the show. Before we have a quick break, do you want to plug the shop, Emily?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, of course I do. We have a shop now. We have merch, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we're not wearing them because they haven't arrived yet, but they're very exciting. There are t-shirts, there are hoodies, there are tote bags, there are jigsaw puzzles. It's all very new and fresh. It's rpgeeks.tmill, which is TEEMILL.com. And also, it's all done. It's all printed in the UK. It's like from sustainable, renewable energy. That was very important to us when we were looking. And there is a cool thing you can do on like the t-shirts and things. They have a QR code, and if you decide you no longer would like your t-shirt, which we won't be too hurt, you can scan the QR code, and they will let you send it back to the factory where it will then be remade into more t-shirts.
And you get store credit for it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, you get store credit for doing so.
I didn't even know that. There you go. And you get store credit. And we've got lots of t-shirts with character art and things. There will be more coming in the future. We've got some really fun ideas for like some nerdy science D&D shirts and things like that.
We're going to have some original. Oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. If there is anything in particular that you really want, say you're like, oh, I love that Tenebris t-shirt, but I wish they had it in pink. Just drop us a message on social media somewhere, because we can probably make that happen. But we have to fill out certain things to make things in certain colors, but it's probably doable. So just, shoot your shot. Let us know.
And if anyone was concerned, we haven't got like a warehouse full of these. Like, these are made to order.
They're made to order. Yeah.
So don't worry, we're not just being massively wasteful, sitting on a million infinities and being like, come on.
That wouldn't be wasteful. Everyone wants the infinity.
Also the
Infinity shirt.
Infinity. Yeah.
There's some also very bad names. I like the never split the party.
I do like that one.
It's also my favorite t-shirt. So yeah.
We'll have to go check it out for yourselves. What was that URL again, Bates?
rpgeeks.tmill. That's TEEMILL.com.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Do we have AOB before we jump to the break?
I don't think so.
I missed you guys. This is great.
Oh, I love you. Love you all.
Right, well, with that, we'll be gone for just a couple of minutes, and we'll be returning with introductions to our characters and starting chapter 3, the final chapter of this campaign, which is very, very exciting. We're all a little bit nervous. Ali is going to murder us all. We will be back in a couple of minutes. Get yourself a drink. See you in a couple of minutes.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dungeons and Dragons part of our Dungeons and Dragons and Science episode. Before we dive into today's adventure and the start of the new chapter, we're just going to go around and tell you a little bit about our characters to get you up to speed. So I am playing Tenebris, who uses she, her pronouns, who is a drow aberrant mind sorcerer. We have, excitingly, we haven't mentioned this, we have leveled up.
I know, I want to point out the stuff on stream is out of date. That's still a level 3 stats, because I don't have the new ones for everyone yet. So that will be fixed next stream.
We're sort of basically we're leveling up over the sort of intro of what's about to happen, as Ali will explain.
It's a hell of an intro.
Level 7 sorcerer. for podcast listeners, a quick visual description because we haven't done those for a while. So Tenebris is a sort of slim young woman with white hair in 2 bunches, wearing sort of leather jacket and very sort of like dark colors and sort of cyberpunky outfit, I would say, and some funky sun goggles as well to protect her drow eyes from Brexigantu's horrible sunlight. And I'll pass over now to Emily Bates.
Hello, I play Infinite Sky 6000, serial number 86919726, PMGB1530ML. Put it on a t-shirt. Right. And she is by D&D terms, she is a wood elf. However, in our reskin, shall we say, just a little bit, she is an android. She is a terraforming druid, a druoid, some might call her. She actually is a just over 6 foot android, but her entire outer casing is screens which show normally just sort of a night sky, stars, bit of a galaxy in there probably, but they shift and can display different sort of weather and sky effects to do with her emotions, and I love her so much. Is there anything else? They use she/they pronouns, and
they're definitely not evil.
They're definitely not evil. 1600 years old.
Oh yeah, good fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Simon.
Hello, I'm Simon, and I am playing as Uriel, who uses he/they pronouns. Uriel, in our reskin of D&D, is a dwarf, and a dwarf monk at that. In our terms, however, he is a cybernetically enhanced human, more machine now than man, with an internal source of energy, his battery, which acts as a source of key points in our reskin. And as a description for people who are listening at home, imagine Agent 47 in a monk's cowl, a quite squat guy, actually. I think I said Uriel.
Who's Agent 47?
I don't know.
He's a dwarf.
From the Hitman series. Hitman series of games.
Dwarf Agent 47. Has he got a beard? No.
He doesn't have a beard. The only hair on his character art is their eyebrows, actually. And that is canon. Canonically, I believe they are like 5'7" or something. They're a little bit on the short side.
A dwarf for a dwarf.
But wearing brown monk's cowl robes with a belt, the famous belt that is the strongest member of the party.
It is 50 feet of rope.
And a chain of Allen keys around their neck. And that leaves the one and only Alistair Jennings.
Oh, Alistair.
That's me, Alistair Jennings. I am your dungeon master. I have created the world and I gel everything together, but you can call me Fate Weaver. Fate Weaver. Roll the intro! Welcome to the distant future, a universe where humans have spread out and colonized the stars. The human-controlled systems form the Alliance, an entity that governs most of humanity and protects it with its military wing, the Armada. But our story takes place far from the Central Alliance core, on the outer rim of Alliance space. And this is a world called Brexigantu. Second planet from the second star of the Quel'Earth Beta system. And here is where our story will unfold. Now, we are playing Dungeons & Dragons, right? Which means elves, and dwarves, and gods, and magic. But in this sci-fi universe, we're challenging ourselves to be able to explain all of this with science. So every spell has a technological explanation. Like a fireball might be a high-intensity Molotov cocktail, or a detect thoughts could rely on electrophysiological brain reading. Shamini?
What a good idea.
What a great idea. Where did I get that from? Or maybe druid shape-shifting could be down to swarms of nanobots.
Transformers.
Disguise.
And part of that means that we explain the D&D races differently too. Almost all of them stem from humans, but modified and adapted in strange and powerful ways. So like an elf might be exquisitely genetically modified to extend their lives. A dwarf could be cybernetically enhanced to allow them to mine in the harshness of space. Halflings might be combined nanite biochemical engineering to become preternaturally quick, and so on. So we still call them elves, dwarves, and halflings, but they're from quite different sci-fi roots. Which brings us, naturally, to our party. First, a wood elf druid named Infinite Skies 6000, but here, in this universe, she's a terraforming robot android. Secondly, a drow elf sorcerer named Tenebris. And Tenebris is a human, genetically modified to survive in the darkness of her underground planet home. And finally, a dwarven monk called Uriel, with bionic enhancements to work in the orbital factory that they call home. So, Uriel,
Orbital?
Tenebris.
Sorry.
Sore subject.
Burn!
That's what it did, yes.
Unnecessary.
Past tense.
So this brings us to that brought us to our party. Uriel, Tenebris, and Infinite Sky. You've been thrown together by a chance meeting in the wild mountains at the north of Braxiganto. But you're bonded together through a series of hair-raising adventures. But now,
Sore subject.
you've discovered...
My eyebrows were.
So now, you have discovered that Braxiganto itself is under threat. So you've undertaken a great challenge to find the mysterious source of the energy pulses that threaten this world and stop them. To aid you on your quest, you were given 3 pieces of advice by one of the mysterious watchers, the Snidarian-like satellites that hang in Braxiganto's orbit.
So pretty.
Nidarian. Oh my gosh.
I should be
Little
writing this
jellyfish.
down.
Like
Write that down.
jellyfish,
Write
right?
that down.
Do you mean, is that a word for jellyfish?
Yeah.
It is a
Okay,
word for
cool.
jellyfish, yeah! The Snidarians, it's a phylum.
Clever words
Or it
from
might
Ali
be
Jennings.
Or it's a suborder or something. So this watcher told you to search for the cult of fallen angels, to investigate the artifact that you'd found deep underground in the Vow Mines, and to seek the help of a powerful member of the Alliance in the capital city of Gunka, a woman named Saib Vivagi.
Could I get a spelling for that, please?
C-Y-B V apostrophe V-A-R-G-I.
What a brilliant sci-fi name. Carry on.
Vivagi.
Vivagi.
It's Rebecca Vivagi.
No.
Oh no. Oh no.
The Alliance have been adding Instagram stories and only letting one person at a time see them. They're like, aha!
Oh wow. Oh, you're going deep into your
this was
culture. Yeah.
I really thought that was a
Pop culture
foolproof
side.
name. I thought that was a good
It's
one.
a great name. It is a good name.
We just got to find Rebecca Vardy, guys.
Not anymore, it's not. But before you could learn any more of these 3 things, right? Another energy pulse ripples out over Braxiganto, tearing through your connection with the Watcher, damaging your shuttle. And you raced to get to Gunka before the shuttle gave out. And on your way, you saw something terrible. Uriel's home, the orbital shipyard of Martinsbane, falling from the sky. It smashed into the city of Gunka in a piercing flash of white light. So,
That was bad.
it was
Thanks,
real
Sherlock.
bad, fellas.
It's my home!
And I'm saying it was a bad thing.
So, we join our party in the Sprawl, which is a sea of hab structures and fortified compounds and slums that surrounds downtown Gunka.
Would you like me to show a map of this, Ali?
Is it Ali's little
I've got those.
sketch?
I've got those.
The most scribbliest little sketch.
I think it's great. Don't listen to the
I
haters.
like
Shows
them.
have like artists drawing maps with like the tiny mountains and
Shamini?
little Tolkien.
Can we not map show
It is
Nally,
literally
please?
the best. It's the best piece of art I've ever done.
Podcast
this is
listeners, we
excellent.
will put it on the Instagram and Twitter and things like that.
Just shield your eyes when you look at it. It's so brilliant that you may never see anything
Good
else
map.
again.
Sorry.
Right, so
Map
Tenebrious, Uriel, and Infinity. It's taken you a week already to make it through the heightened security around Gunka. In that time, you've had a moment to reflect, to consolidate new abilities and new learnings about yourself. And in D&D terms, of course, you've all leveled up to level 7. So
Level
well
up.
done.
Level up. Level up. Level up. Level up.
Level up, level up.
Level up. Level up.
Secretary for leveling up, Infinity.
Oh, God.
No, don't do that to me.
Minister
No, what, God, politics is seeping. The real
Minister
world is
for
seeping back in.
Gunkan
Quick.
Not today.
opportunities.
Stop it.
Except it's not going to be a total disaster. Us leveling up is actually going to... It has happened, and it's going to be good.
Definitely a good thing.
So you finally landed late through one of the passenger shuttles moving from the rings down to Gunka. And you've come out to an unglamorous container hotel at the edge of the Sallows, a slum populated by the poorest and the most hopeless in Gunka. Looking out from the rough-cut windows of your fifth-story capsule, you're surrounded by creaking structures and perilous walkways. People crowd the streets in greater variety than you've ever seen before. If you look between the buildings, you can make out the edge of the cloud, the great column of mist that rises up around central Gunka, where the weather is controlled.
Would you like me to show the transverse view of Gunka for our video?
Again, we'll be on our Instagram.
Double maps.
I would love that.
Double maps, baby!
You get all the maps.
I think they're great, Ali. I don't think you should listen
I
to
do
them.
too, and I think Shamini was being very rude.
We'll put them on a t-shirt and see how well we sell.
Can I
No,
ask...
let's not get too far. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question, seeing as this is like something that anybody, I think, looking at the map will ask? Is it visible?
Is it?
The fuck is this?
Yeah. Are you the next Leonardo da Vinci? How are the hanging gardens and the slabs supported? Because on the map they appear to be
Such a good
floating.
answer.
Question.
There's cables. There's cables. I'm really excited about the cables.
Okay, all right. So this is so some of the characters will know this and some of them won't. So I will trust you to forget those of you who wouldn't have seen this. But there's two different main ways, right? One of them, massive balloons, right? Just huge blimps holding them up.
Love a
Right?
blimp.
Love a blimp. But the other way, and the way which is more significant because it holds most of the weight, right, serious weight, is Gunka is based around a single space elevator that runs from the center of the city all the way up to the rings orbiting the planet's surface. So
Not literal
when they-
rings. The rings is just the name for like.
the rings is the name of these ring-like structures, like space
Artificial
station
structures. Yeah.
Yes.
I know these aren't like
So they're
Halo.
not like Saturn's rings.
They're not like that. Right?
No, they're just like donuts, which basically sit
Got you.
above the atmosphere. So once the first of those went up, other people started throwing up their own, basically the same cable technology which allows the lift to work. So now, in the space where the weather is controlled, it's filled with these cables, all held in place by the centrifugal force of the planet spinning.
So all of these cables extend out to above the atmosphere.
They all extend above the atmosphere. Yes, it's like a kind of forest of these cables, and all these supported buildings often built off them. But there are also very, very tall buildings within Gunka itself from which you can reach these floating structures.
Okay.
So, as you look out at the edge of the cloud, you see massive insectoid shapes flitting in and out of the fog. And when you look the other way, you can see in the distance the blackened wreckage of the crash site, where the Martinsbane space station ploughed into Gunka. You have finally arrived. The mystery of the energy pulses, the fallen angels, the artifact all lie before you. But for now, it's late. You're bone tired. So as sleep approaches, is there anything you'd like to do before you rest?
I think over the time that since this has all happened, since we saw Martinsbane come down, since we know we've had to make our way down to the city, easier said than done, taken us a few days. Tenebris is doing what she's kind of often been doing since then, which is just sort of like flickering her fingers and creating little dancing lights. So just like little flashes where the light from the colony just sort of temporarily appears. This is just me casting my cantrip like over and over again, just a sort of like anxious release. And she's been doing that kind of like more and more until it's like almost consistent, because otherwise like her head starts to like throb, and then she sort of starts doing it again. I think she's been not really saying anything to Uriel during this time. I'll leave it to you to describe what Uriel's kind of like been like, but not going near that one. But I think as we are sort of here now finally and sort of prepared for the next step, I'm gonna sort of go over to Infinity while still sort of like flickering the lights and say, you don't need to worry, because we're definitely going to save the planet and everything, and you know we're going to help you, right? And we're all going to do it together, and like make sure no one else, you know. And she kind of glances at Uriel. Nothing else bad happens.
Thank you. You really don't have to, though. It's not for you to do. I want you two to be safe. This is going to be dangerous, Tenebris. You don't want dangerous things. You said it.
You know, I did say that, and I tried really hard not to like do anything and get into trouble, but this is like really important, and you're my friend, and that's really important. So, you know, if my friends and if we can help you like with our powers and stuff, then you know I'm gonna do that. And like I think they want to help because they're really like getting, you know, angsty if they're not getting to do anything. So I know that's probably a good sign. That probably means, you know, that they also want to help you. And I think maybe you need me, you know, because you don't know. Do you know Gunka much?
I don't know of Gunka at all.
Well, I know, so I can tell you what to go and help you out and stuff. So
that would be very helpful. And obviously, I would love to spend time with you and Uriel, but I am so scared of hurting you. I don't think I would deal very well if you two were hurt.
Oh dear. Well,
you see, I'm not very good at this friend thing. I've never really done it, so, or at least I've never felt it.
It's just the circle of life, you know.
But I also don't want you to go. I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay.
I will stay, and if I die, then... No, I'm not saying I will die. Okay, don't panic. Okay, Infinity, I'm just saying.
Clouds immediately.
Infinity, no, okay. The circle of life, you know, it's like...
That sounds like a lovely song.
Yeah, I just made it up.
You probably shouldn't sing it, though, because maybe we don't have the rights to sing it.
about animals and nature, and you made the ground, so you know that.
I don't know if I made the ground.
Oh, okay. Well,
I just maybe made the ground. I maybe made the whole planet, but we don't know.
We don't know that. Terraforming droid. My point is, like, it is all part of nature, I guess. I'm really gonna try not to die, though.
Please, I'm gonna try and make sure you don't die as well. Have you?
Like, even faster, like just like fidgeting with her fingers, and like the light is just sort of like sparking around all over the place.
Infinity just puts her hand on her hand, and can I cast Druidcraft and just like let a little like mushroom grow like on her fingers? It's like a little tiny mushroom, little button mushroom.
Can I eat it?
Yes. Look all the power you have.
I do.
No, but I had to use the network.
All right.
That's why it's a mushroom. I grow buttercups normally.
Oh, mushrooms are much better. Where I'm from, it's always mushrooms. So
with buttercups, you can hold them under your chin and see whether you like butter or not. And that was something that's in my programming.
Mushroom butter.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And have you spoken to Uriel?
No. You should. He likes you.
Yeah, but yes. But he likes you too. Now, I think.
Well, now we have an understanding that we're not going to get married.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I thought you might at one point.
It really helped our relationship to clarify that is not the plan.
Right, yes. So, what is your relation? I don't understand relationships very well.
No, I don't think we do either. It's kind of confusing.
We are there's a word awkward in my data banks. I think it sums us up quite well.
Maybe you should, because I think when...
Yes, I gave him a flower the other day, and he just sort of looked at it.
Okay, you remember when you were sad?
Yes.
And I said we shall just have to be sad for a while, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. That helped a lot.
Yeah, maybe you can.
Then I killed someone quite badly. Mm-hmm. Oh, you weren't there. Yes, I did. I sliced a guard in half.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I think there was sort of a pent-up frustration, and I thought you were in danger, so I killed them. But I have decommissioned that bit of programming from my system, so hopefully I won't do exactly that again.
Maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Okay. I feel quite bad about it. It's in my programming to protect people, and so it just sort of happened.
Oh my gosh!
But now, I didn't normally. I wouldn't have felt bad about it before.
We will get into that because that is the whole thing.
Okay, killing people.
Because
yes.
I feel like tomorrow we're going to be, we're going to be really. We are in this nearly in the center of Gunka now. Tomorrow is like a big deal, and maybe you should just say something to Uriel before we get, end up talking to loads of people, and I don't know. I don't want to. You'd say something. I don't want to say something.
No, that's fine. I can talk to him.
Okay.
I'll immediately walk over to Uriel.
Oh no, to be subtle. Oh,
what?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Before we do that, I just want to. Uriel looks like hell. Like
maybe
the fleshy parts, like his skin, is definitely paler and more pallid. And the mechanical components look like they're sort of worming in more. Like there's sort of a greyish tinge to the skin around all the mechanical components. No. They look a little bigger than you last saw them. Like he definitely looks more machine now than he did a couple of days ago.
Uriel?
Yeah?
How are you feeling?
I am gratified that we are in Gunka and we can proceed with connecting with this person and we can find out what's happened. That is what I am feeling.
That's not a feeling, Uriel.
That is what my body is telling me I am feeling. I am gratified that we are on the way to completing this.
If you'll let them, Infinity will put their hand on your shoulder, and I'll cast what is guidance, the cantrip. But I kind of imagine it's always quite a warm feeling that kind of spreads from her hand when she casts it. Uriel, you saw horrendous things. You saw your home fall. And you haven't spoken about it.
I need time to process what has fully happened. But what I have established now is that there's something that needs to be righted. This cannot have happened, without a reason. That reason must be exterminated.
We're going to help you.
Hopefully. So will this Vargi.
Yes. But, Uriel, if you ever want to talk or...
I'm aware that you are here, and I'm grateful that you and Tenebris are accompanying me on this. I think you will help this wrong be righted.
Can I tell you a story? On my way to Braxigantu, we now know, over 1,000 years ago, I set off with a group of Infinite Sky 6000s. We travelled for years, decades, to get here. On the way, I lost many of them. They were taken out of the sky by debris, by failing, a technological problem. I watched them fall, I watched them switch off and float away into space. And I didn't feel anything. I just got here and, well, I assume carried on with my job. I haven't thought about it properly since waking up. Because how I feel now that I feel, thinking about that is unimaginable. And it is centuries old. I don't even begin to understand how you're feeling, Uriel. But if it's anything like this, it cannot be good.
I do not feel. I cannot feel. Feel would be to betray what has happened here. Definitely gonna disengage eyes from you and look more into the middle distance. Processing.
Again, Druidcraft, she'll just put a buttercup in front of him and walk away.
I'm imagining that they're gonna look at it, pick up the buttercup and hold it exactly as they were before, but hold the buttercup in front of them.
I'll go back to Tenebris. I don't think I helped at all.
I think you being here is help on its own.
I just want him to be okay.
It will take some time.
We'll find out what did it. But I don't think that will entirely help.
No, but it gives us something to do.
Right. Focus.
Whilst this is happening, Uriel is internally trying to calm their emotions down and sort of saying over and over again, give me more, I need more information. Get there as fast as I can, but give me something else, please.
As the sounds of the city break through the window of the scummy hotel that you guys find yourselves in, conversation dies out, and at last you will give in to the deep, deep tiredness that you've been feeling since 1 week ago when you were in orbit around the planet. You all make your way to different parts of the room. You curl up, you lie down, you simply fall completely from vertical to horizontal. And all of you take your rest in your various ways. Uriel, As you drift off, something unusual happens. You are not used to dreaming. In the blackness that you normally feel, where normally there is a comforting string of ones and zeros that sit beneath your consciousness, suddenly you find yourself catapulted into a memory, something you've not thought about for so long. You look up and you see above you the huge cavern of Martin's Bane, the central hold where you worked on so many ships. All around you are clustered the people you've worked with, the workers, the people who will go on to be your brothers in the order that you join, because you're much younger now. You remember what it's like?
You've got 2 biological arms.
You look at your right hand, you remember it. You wiggle the fingers, and then you hear through the crowd, oh, it's coming. They're here, murmurings, whispers, susurrations. And then the great doors between the inner workshops and the outer bays start to open.
It's the day it happened.
From the space, a massive figure floats, regal, wings spread 1/2 kilometer either side, flaming eyes, huge, the figure of a man, but so much more. This vast entity, something that you've heard about for so long, but never seen, makes its way down the tunnel towards the blackness of space. As it does, it turns its great head. You can see it wreathed with plasma, atoms divided from electrons whirling in a toroidal ring around its head. It turns to face you, and you can see the lidless eyes burning white hot, and you hear in your mind, "What do you see, little one?"
I see so much. I see beyond. I see our. See my future.
Of course. Tell me of my body. Am I beautiful?
You're perfect. You're so much.
You see the angel. You feel like you can see it responding to you, but its shape is so huge, the shadow thrown by the light that it's given off, almost pitch black behind you, and for a second you realise that everyone else is caught as you are, staring up at this creature. What would it take for you to worship me?
Nothing. Seeing you, how in the face of perfection could I do anything else? How must I worship you?
Just in front of you, you catch for a second someone just crumples down to the floor. Give me everything. Give me all that you have. Become what I am. One day, You too may see the heavens. And through your mind, stars, the nebulae burst in front of you. You see, for a second, outside the galaxy itself, a disk hanging in blackness. And like that, the vision is sucked away from you. Kneel.
Falls to their knees, face on the ground.
Around you, others are falling as well. You see one person lift up their hands. Please, take me with you! Take me with you! The figure turns. Uriel.
Yes.
I will see you again. The figure leaves, floats out of the gate. The gates begin to close as the white-hot heat of this entity grows brighter and brighter and brighter. You hear someone scream behind you as they're trying to look into the face of this god, and the gates close.
I look around at everyone else. Feel like this is what I was born for. This is what I was made for. There's so much more beyond these people. There is that. There is to the beyond. This was it.
You look around. As you're looking, you look down. You look at your hand. It's metal again. You look at your other hand. You see the grey skin of your current body. You look up again. The hall, the great working hall, the engineering chamber is changed. Bits start to fall off. It starts to crumble and shake. You see the people around you start to shift. People start to scream, "No, what's happening? No, no." The doors crack open. People are sucked out into the void. You can feel it. The zero-G, and you see the wall start spinning around you further and further and faster. Bits start flying.
No!
Blackness. The last thing in your mind, the message that you received maybe 2 hours ago. They need your help, Uriel. Infinity. As you commence to shut down, you realize that there's something that's been troubling you. Something that you hadn't thought about for a while. In all the scurry of the action that you've taken to get down to the surface, there was a conversation that you'd had with the Watcher before you left. And you haven't been able to give it the thought you needed. But in this moment, you realize you have time. You cycle back through the logs, visual, auditory, reaching that day 7 days ago when you were in space looking down on Braxigantu, the land that you created, perhaps, and linked to this creature. Infinity, do you understand what I ask of you?
Yes, you want me to stop the cult of fallen angels, save the planet. Yes?
You understand why it must be you?
I'm a protector of this world.
Yes.
It's what I was built
Yes, you
for.
are.
It's my programming.
It is. One cannot fight their nature. But
What-
tell me... Go on, child.
What if I want to help others, not just the planet? My friends.
The tentacles of this great floating jellyfish undulate around you. A pause, and then the voice in your head. That is not so. That is not so common. For one such as us, we know only the service to the mother, surely. Why would you need to help them? Yes, they are creatures alive on the planet, but no more precious than any of them.
I care about them. I love them.
Yes, we love all the creatures down on
No,
the surface.
it's not the same. Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad?
We feel contentment when the planet is safe, and we feel not that. There is no word I can tell you, but we feel a need to help when the planet is in danger as it is now. This emotion you speak of, I do not know it.
I don't really know it very well, but I think it's what it is.
It is this infinity that I wish to talk to you about while your friends are not listening.
They can't hear you.
No, only you can hear me now, for this is only for you. Your kind should not feel. Your kind have only one purpose: to build and maintain this world. The fact that you do not is a puzzle to me. Tell me, you cut down a man in Lansdowne Port. How did you do this?
My friends were in trouble. I had to stop him. He was going to take me away from them.
You took his life to defend another life.
My friends.
Whoa. 2 more creatures in a sea of lives.
I know. I understand. But they're good people.
Now tell me this. How did you do it?
I don't want to repeat it ever again.
Then I shall repeat it for you, and you feel for a second, this time from straight above, a direct satellite view of a figure standing surrounded by a ring of other figures, a flash of flame, and then one of the figures falls in half on the floor, surrounded by revelers and fireworks. Do you see what you did?
Yes.
How can you do that?
Do
you think that is something that all of your kind can do?
It's just a program for protection, in case we're in danger when we're on the planet.
Infinity. What danger would come to you on a barren world?
There might be other life there. I don't.
No. You know as well as I do the protocols. We do not terraform a world that is already seeded. What you can do is beyond what any of you should be able to do. You have access to a whole range of abilities, and I do not know where they are from.
I can't tell you. I don't remember. I remember arriving at Braxigantu, and then I woke up weeks ago.
Think, child. Think, child. Anything.
I'll try and access my memory banks again.
Make a history check.
Woo! 14. Yeah.
14. You think back. You remember. Do you remember the black sphere as it travelled before the sun? You remember the 4 of your brothers who'd survived, your brothers and sisters. You remember them spreading out, going to the poles, the vertices of the planet. For a second, you remember seeing one block out one single star. Then, nothing.
I'm very old. Maybe I just, in my time, maybe in my memory wipe, maybe I learnt them. Maybe a satellite came by and I picked up some extra skills. Is that so hard to believe?
Infinity, think of what you can do, and I must think of what you could do. You wield huge power. You could be a great service to this planet, but you are also a great danger. Your friends, you call them, do they know this?
They know about me. They know I was here a long time ago. They know what I can do.
There's a pause. I hope, child, you can control it. For wherever this came from, surely it can be used for good for this planet.
That's all I want. I want to help the planet.
But you should know where your powers come from, for if you walk in the darkness, who knows what monsters may come from it for you. And at this point, you feel the beginning of the ripple of energy from the planet. You can feel her mind start to loosen on yours. There is not much time. Listen to me.
Did you do that?
No. We cannot do such things, child. There is no time. Listen, I feel in you the same kind of energy that is about to hit this ship. I feel in you the same energy that we felt not 3 days ago.
I
can't
didn't do it.
It is not exactly the same, but there is some signature there. There is something there. And I do not know how to help you. Static.
I think her screens just go dark. There's no clouds. It's just a blank, deep, deep night sky.
And at this point, the shuttle is hit. Tenebris and Uriel are panicked, and the Watcher tells you, go quickly to Gunka, to all of you. And the conversation is finished. Tenebris. This is a difficult time for you. In the darkness of the night, even though you can hear in the distance the sounds of the city life, Your head is throbbing. You're doing what you can, but every hour it feels like there's pins pressing themselves into the inside of your skull. But you're so tired. But you're so worried. You sit there unable to go into the trance-like meditation which you would normally use to recharge. And as you sit there, something feels different. And then you hear, Tenebris, you're home. In your mind. Oh, my sweet girl. How has it taken you so long to come back? I was so worried. Come, tell me what's happened. Are you all right?
Oh, milady, I'm fine. I didn't know you would. I didn't know you would know that I was here. I'm coming to find you. I'm coming. I mean, I'm coming to visit you. But are you okay?
Oh, how sweet. You were always so sweet. Of course, I'm absolutely fine. This Martin's Bane business, of course, is throwing some ripples in the smooth surface of the pond, but you know me, I always get by. But it's you, my sweet, that I'm worried about. I don't want to hear about why you left. It's all water under the bridge. We all have our reasons. We must all make our way in life. I understand, of course. It wasn't not long ago, I was doing the same thing myself.
Really? I thought you might be mad, you know, because I didn't tell you and...
No. Shh. Don't. I'm here, and all I am is happy that you're here as well.
That makes me happy. That's really good. I was like so worried. I'm so glad you're not mad. I am sorry anyway. I know water on the bridge, but I'm gonna come and find you, and I promise I'm totally okay. And I've been doing really well actually, with all sorts of employment, you know, that I was finding to like get by and, you know, learn new skills and stuff. Like it's been going really great.
Yes, it sounds terribly exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it when you come and see me, which of course I know you will. Now tell me, who are your delightful companions?
Can you see them?
Oh, you know, I never tell.
I know you know everything. I just didn't even think that, like, wow, okay. Yeah, they're really great. I'm gonna basically bring them to see you because they wanted to see you anyway, and Infinity will explain everything, but like really bad things are happening, and Infinity is like super important, and she's like really old, and she has to save the planet, and you know, I knew that you would be able to help.
In Infinity, she is your robot friend?
Yes, she is a droid. Yes, and she was like, she'll tell you all about it. They were terraforming the planet like ages ago, and yeah, they're really great. Like you will like them a lot. We have a very important job to do, though. That is all. But I know that you can help us do that, and I am helping them do the important job.
Anything I can do to help, my dear. Anything I can do. Tell me, what is the job? How intriguing.
Well, it's like saving the whole planet because, like, I don't even know what's going wrong, but it's very bad. And
of course, you're going to save the planet. Fantastic. Tell me how. What must you do?
Right, there was a list. Basically, we're gonna come find you because you are on the list. The satellite said we have to come find you.
The satellites?
Yeah, like it was a jellyfish, and it said, "Please find Cybervarki, and she will help you." And I knew that you would, and it would all be good. So I'm really.
Did this jellyfish introduce itself? Maybe give itself a name.
I don't know. It's like a watcher jellyfish satellite thing. I don't know. I don't know if they have names.
The Watchers. How fascinating. So, you want to come find me, are you?
Yeah,
well,
we have to find you. It told us lots of really important things, right? Because it knows all of the important things. And, we have to find you, and we have to, I have an artifact that I'll show you that could be important. It said this thing is important, and the world is in danger. And
my sweet, you couldn't hold up this artifact. You couldn't find it. Just hold it up, could you?
If I see it, will you see it?
Oh, of course. Of course, you know.
I feel like I think it's in a bag somewhere. I don't know. Anyway,
Yes.
you guys.
I do think you had it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have it in my bag somewhere. So Tenebris reaches in and pulls out this sort of shiny, crystal, like covered in crystals, like this sort of cylindrical, tubey, heavy rock.
Yes, it's a cylindrical tube that is covered in these crystals that are growing out of it, kind of metallic crystals.
Someone else is going to investigate it before any of us do.
Oh yeah, we should.
Oh shit! Yeah, we could have done that. Yeah.
So Tenebris literally has barely looked at this, hasn't taken it out for I can't even remember the last time. I think the last time was when we were with the fish people in a cave.
I think that's about right. Yeah.
Doesn't really know what this is or what it's, why it's important. If you throw it, it kind of goes boom, but it's fine. Can you? And she's just sort of holding it and seeing it and watching it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's cool, huh?
Very, very cool. You absolutely must come and see me. I will brook no delay.
We were going to come tomorrow, but I was worried about how we'd get in.
No. We can't wait that long. Surely not. Listen, you just tell your friends.
But they have to sleep. They are sleeping. We are really tired.
Can sleep at ours. We have so many beds. You know that. You can have your own room. It'll be so lovely.
Okay.
Now, I'll send the car.
Okay.
And we'll see you in just a jiffy. Okay.
You know where we are. Of course, you know where we are. Okay. I will wake them and tell them.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Tenebris.
I'm
so glad you're back, my sweet.
Okay.
I'm so glad you're back.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
I feel like I've just survived the sinking of the Titanic and my lifeboat has just sprung a leak, but I don't know that it has.
Yeah, no, and we're just happily going to jump in it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've just had a huge little part of my notes that now just says player knowledge.
Yeah, player not character knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Rebecca Vardy does turn out to be...
Don't like Rebecca Vardy right now.
Hashtag Team Rooney.
Sounds of the city continue beneath you. And you would know, Tenebris, it'll probably take about 30 minutes, half an hour for someone to get here from the, I forgot what it's called now, the Hanging Gardens.
The Alliance use hours as their unit of time?
No.
I think we said yes, didn't we?
I actually have this written down in notes, which I can't access because they're so deep in. But
and does it turn out that Braxigantu does so happen to have 24 hours in its day?
It has a decimal system which moves across the Alliance. Basically,
no way.
Oh, bollocks! I can't find where.
Is there a difference between Alliance time and local time so that people can actually have?
Or is it all just Alliance time?
DnDebrief, maybe.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
How does time work? Oh, no,
I seem to remember you said something about was it one of the moons had a period of 10 days, so that a 10-day was actually a sensible unit.
The week is a 10-day.
Oh yes, a week, not a month.
And then so it's a decimal time system, but I can't remember exactly
It's
there's
fine.
a way that sort of goes.
We'll
out.
talk
Sorry,
about
that's-
it in a D&D brief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, so you've got about 30 minutes, which is not decimal in this particular instance.
Sexagesimal is what that
30
is.
Minutes.
To be fair, all our
Sexagesimal.
spells are like timings of hours and minutes and things, so
Naughty,
they're
naughty
useful for now.
sexagesimal. So in this time,
Sexagesimal.
Sexagesimal.
Sexy Jezebel.
Sexagesimal.
Oh.
Oh. And so
Bonky
is there
emotes
anything
in
you'd like
chat,
to do
please.
before future us bonk emotes? Is there anything you would like to do before your car arrives?
Get a good night's sleep.
No time for
will
that.
not
I'm
be
really sorry.
What? Oh.
Am I
wait.
right in thinking that I'm gonna have to interrupt their sleep anyway? They're not gonna get a long rest.
But we haven't done anything, right? Because we've had days.
Yeah, you haven't.
So we're not experiencing any like
spell slots or anything.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
We'll just be tired if we don't get sleep, but we can go to the house.
That's fine.
It'll be fine. I'm gonna. Tenebra's just gonna like come off the call and just take a moment and just like sort of shake off the headache again. And I think what I might do is I might let the lights of the colony like grow into more sort of like torch-sized sort of just glowing something that you kind of work out what's emitting the light, so that it's kind of like brighter in here. Good morning.
What time is it?
Good morning. Oh, I've not been
Okay, so it's not actually
offline long
morning.
enough. Actually.
Sorry.
Why did you wake us?
I haven't fully done my upgrade.
Okay, no, I have really good news.
Mm.
We have somewhere else that we can go and sleep that is better than here.
Oh.
You know how we had to find the Lady Vivargi?
Oh,
She's
yeah.
sending a car for us now.
What? How
Wait.
did you contact her?
How did they contact B? How does she know where we are?
Well, okay, so I haven't told you this before, but like she is basically like my old like boss, like I had a previous job. Sort of like boss, well, sort of like mentor. Well, I was like sort of her ward, but then I left.
She gave you your programming.
I guess so, actually. Like, I was gonna say no, like, my parents gave me my programming, but actually, no, that is a good point, actually.
Wait, she overwrote your programming?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, with good stuff?
Have you met Tenebris?
Well, yes. She's lovely.
Thank you. Yes, with, like, helpful things, because that's why I came here, and things weren't going very well at home, and I was a real problem for my parents, so I had to come here, and she really looked after me and helped me out. This was a while ago.
But wait
so
a
she's
minute.
your friend?
Didn't you run away? Why did you left her? Why did you leave?
I didn't I wanted my own job, basically. So, by the way, I have different things to tell you before the car comes. Okay, so if she asks, just like if you wanted to mention how good a job I'm doing, like how we've done lots of stuff together, and we did really good archaeology.
Yes, archaeology, stole 2 ships. Oh, fantastic things.
Also, don't lie to her, okay? Just don't lie.
Okay.
Because she will know.
Well, we've been appointed. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
And also, we haven't done archaeology. That was a lie. You taught me about that.
It's more like a metaphor for all the things that we've been doing.
Oh, because we went underground, so that's kind of archaeology.
I feel like I've said it so much that I feel like actually it was archaeology.
Yes,
you know?
To be fair,
archaeologists who famously dig up fossils.
That's what they do.
We did
That's
dig
what
up an
archaeologists
artifact.
do,
To be
not
fair,
paleontologists.
we do have an artifact.
We did.
Yes.
I'm going to show her the artifact, and the thing is that she is going to be able to help you with all the things in Infinity, because basically she knows everyone. She knows everyone in the city. She knows everything that's going on.
Do you think she'll know about the fallen angels?
I didn't ask her about that yet, but if there's something going on, either she'll know or she can find out.
Well, I mean, the satellites the Watchers, they did tell us to find her, so
Yeah.
It makes sense.
This is divinely appointed. This is what we should be doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Not divinely,
Sure.
though.
But do you not see the parallels? That we've been pointed in this direction after Martin's Bane has been destroyed at the same instant. We've been tasked with fixing this, with righting this wrong, and this was the direction that we have been given.
No, yes, we agree.
Yes.
But
Correct.
it's not really divine, though, Uriel.
It could be divine infinity. Just maybe we don't know. It's not divine.
I just have never seen anything actually divine.
Oh, how do you know if it's divine? Because it might be secretly divine. Oh, secret divine.
Oh, secret divine. Yeah. Sounds like a band name. Hey, London, we're secret divine.
I'm holy and I know it.
The car is here. Okay. You guys are in.
Sounds like a helicopter.
Such shit because we're about to go to the Hanging Gardens. And
she's your friend.
No, she's not my friend. She's like.
But you trust her?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go to his car.
D&D is a fantasy world where we can imagine things to get away, and I can't even get a good night's sleep in this campaign. I swear to God. Sorry.
You walk out onto one of the walkways that links to the buildings in this sort of crosshatch pattern, and you see in front of you a long, sleek, rotor-driven flying vehicle. Rotors on at all four corners, and a sleek white surface. It's actually all white, and you know that there must be a windscreen in there somewhere, but you wouldn't know where to point at it. It angles itself towards you. A door opens seamlessly from the side, and inside you see plush sofas, one on either side of this small sort of interior space. You see a couple of a couple of computer screens artfully sort of hidden around the side, and in the centre a coffee table, and on it 3 mugs of some sort of steaming brown liquid.
Abel doesn't drink tea.
Oh.
Is it tea? Is it tea?
Sorry, for any new people, there was a long-standing conspiracy theory. Yeah. About people who do or don't drink tea. Yeah.
You enter the ship, and as you go in and look down, you realise that you can see through every surface here. Yeah. It's like you're floating in the air.
Whoa.
Fuck yeah. That's not what infinity is.
Holy fuck!
As the door shuts behind you, we will take a quick break, and we're going to be back in 2 or 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'm not your dad, but I am the.
Oh, he said it. He stole my line.
He said I'm not your dad. You say I'm not a cop.
It was great. It was like building onto it. Oh, so good.
We're back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, or do. Yeah, not dad, not dad. Good cat. Good not cop. Bad not dad.
Kill it. Kill it now.
Is what it sounds like outside the car. Inside, like floating through thin air. There's some calming sort of music that you can start hearing now.
Is it hot chocolate? Is it hot chocolate?
Is it what the music?
No.
You said it was calming music.
The drinks. Don't care about the music. I want a hot chocolate.
No, well, you go over and you have a look at it, and it's coffee, but you could maybe ask for hot chocolate. That might do something. I don't know.
Are there any staff around?
No, there's no one here. So it's empty. There's these 2 sofas on either side. There's 2 screens on either side, and you can see that you can pull screens up out of the sides of the sofas as well. But it's just you 3 and this sort of music in the background.
Infinity looks at the screens a little bit like, mine are better. Like, oh, I've got screens. I'm a car.
Eating with a car. Oh my god.
Uriel absolutely does not touch the coffee. He's just.
Infinity sort of smells it. And
that will keep you awake. We are about to go to sleep.
Can I roll like a nature check to try and like work out where the coffee's from?
Oh, Infinity's a coffee snob. Of course she's a coffee hipster.
Of course she is. No, she's not a snob. She just wants to know.
Coffee.
She's a hipster.
Right, yeah, exactly. I made this coffee. That is a full-on. Oh, actually, I've got really good nature. 13.
That's good for being a druid.
I rolled a 6.
You're getting notes of hickory. You're getting a little bit of spiciness to it.
Oh, yes.
You'd think it probably came from below the Central Sea, so maybe down near the kind of desert regions. But there's a kind of fringe of rainforest on that particular coast.
Did I really know that?
No, you wouldn't. But
I just know it comes from a
desert.
deserty region. Ah, okay, yeah, understood. I'm like, I found the barcode. Yeah,
Exactly.
found the barcode. Got the info.
code.
Yeah. I've got the full website up. Yeah.
By the way, check it out. My
As you
wife
guys-
made flapjack whilst we were in the middle of this and gave me some.
Oh, can we have them?
I'll post you some if you
Check
want.
it
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
After that,
Look at that,
first
flapjack.
half.
Oh, you know what?
Amazing.
I do have a chocolate. Anyway, sorry.
Not now.
Be right back.
D&D time.
Sorry.
As you
Shoo, shoo.
through the different street, through these narrow streets towards the cloud, right, which is now boiling up in front of you. You are passing through the area known as the Sallows. And now the buildings become a lot more unstable looking. You see that the car is actively choosing circuitous routes to avoid the more toppled down ones. You see large skyscrapers that have fallen to one side, leaning against other skyscrapers, and you see figures moving up and down inside them nonetheless. Below, on the streets, you can see fires burning. It's not out of control, but just on the streets, and you see figures huddled around them. Everybody roll me a perception check.
Oh, let's go with my new modifier.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I rolled a nat 1.
Yeah, 25.
Time of
didn't
day
even-
is it?
It is
night, right?
still night.
Oh yeah, we're
it's
sleeping. 9.
We're not sleeping. That's kind of the point. Thanks to someone.
Yeah, as you look down, Tenebris and Uriel, you're distracted by a voice that just goes, "Try the coffee, it's good." But it's just a disembodied voice that's coming from the car.
Amazing.
But Infinity, you look down, and you see what looks like a commotion. There's people clustered around, and it's. Then you see the sharp beams of floodlights turned onto a single place, right? And it's onto the wall of one of these buildings. And you can see something casting a very dark shadow against the wall. It looks humanoid in shape.
Okay. Keep watching.
Yeah.
I'll point it out to the other two. Something's happening. Look.
Where?
There.
You see,
I'll turn his head and like direct his eyes.
Direct his eyes.
There. Oh my god, Simon, that is terrifying. Do not do that.
It's like a Clockwork
As you're watching-
Orange, just pulling my eyes open.
you see more people congregating around this what looks like a figure. It's raised somewhat, so it's like on the first floor, but there's no kind of steps or anything leading up. It literally looks as though it's just been sort of stuck to the building. Its arms are spread, kind of like a crucifixion style, and you can't hear anything. All you hear is this like bleep, 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 bleep music that's playing in the car. But you can see what's happening. And in the distance, now coming down one of the streets, you see the blue and red flashing lights of a police car or a police drone.
Tenebris, what's happening? Do you know what this is?
I have never been. This is like a weird. Like we don't go here.
But what is it?
I wouldn't know any more than that. Would I? I've never been.
Can we
to
slow down?
dodgy
Can we
areas.
watch?
Is everyone driving this thing, or is this just fully autonomous?
It seems to be fully autonomous.
Slow down. Please stop. Oh,
But you are en route to the lady's house.
yes, we'd like to stop for a second, please.
I'm not sure I can accommodate that. Roll a persuasion check.
I love the idea of an
This can only go well.
an uncertain AI. Like, I'm not sure about that
Well,
request.
I rolled a 2, so that becomes a 1.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry. Perhaps we can return to this location at a more appropriate time.
I don't think that. Well, but now seems like a good.
Infinity.
I'm doing that thing where I've got like my face like pressed against the side as we go away from it, trying to watch as much as I can.
think this is like a really like bad area.
That looked very bad. I would like to know what's happening.
Well, I think quite a lot of bad things happen, you know, when you're not in the nice bits.
But maybe we should be in the bad bits.
You did roll a 25, which is ludicrous. So, as you leave, unless anybody wants to try anything else, you see, from looking out through the bottom of this car, not only is there this figure seemingly pinioned against this wall, they're in a strange looking shape. It looks almost as though they've been opened up. And around them, you see markings. Some fires burning, but also what look like lesions on the wall. Roll me an Arcana check.
Just like breeze over that statement. It looks like there are some legions on the wall. Give me.
It's a 19 on the dice, so 23.
23. Looking at those, with your knowledge of mechanics and of science, you would see that this is acid burn marks that have been made through the wall. And with a 23, you would realize that they're not random. That what you're seeing is like a spatter from something else that was done.
Right. So it's almost like something else got hit and they got caught in a spatter.
No. So the lesion marks are on the wall, and it
hit them in the center. Ow.
It certainly seems to have hit them somewhere and spattered, or at least spattered off them in some way.
Oh, they had acid.
And the last thing that you see, as the full floodlights of the police drone face directly onto this shape, is 4 circles burnt into the chest of this figure. 4 in a sort of like a 4 on a dice.
Okay. Can I sort of make a note of like where this is in the area that we're in, and try and like remember where that was for maybe returning to it at a later date?
You're in the Sallows, and it looks to be one of the main streets that you're coming down. That's certainly what the car is doing. It's moving down these main streets. And with that, you start to lift and rise, and the music becomes more calming again as the music, are you sure you won't try the coffee? And you lift slowly up, and beneath you, you start to see the slums themselves spread out, this sort of patchwork of different kinds of buildings and all kind of messy bits, and you see in there what look like big metal structures that have been partially torn down and reworked, and you can just see sort of ant-like people moving across them and around them, all kind of encrusted with different buildings and shelters and shanties and all sorts of dwellings. And you rise and rise, and then you're enveloped in the cloud. And the lights come on around the car, shining into the mist. When you're inside the cloud, you can see around 150 feet, because most of it is very well lit. So what it ends up being like is a sort of twilight zone, because there are lights shining off almost every available surface. There's neon on the sides of buildings. Everything is beautifully lit, so that as all the different floating vehicles move their way through, they can see each other. And you can also see that the lights twinkle and flash in different ways, as though they're sending messages to each other through the twilight. So you move into this twilight zone, and as you're moving, drops, speckles of water land all around the vehicle itself. It moves on, pushing upwards. Up, up. It's passing the edge of a tubular building that rises almost like a spiral staircase moving up into the sky. You see the top of it come up higher. Around you, coming out of the mist and the fog, you see the interspersed lights of the cables. The cables that tie the orbital part of Braxigantu to the earthbound part. Your car wends its way between them. Some shapes drift in and out. Animals, flying creatures. You see the wings of some huge manta ray, glowing neon red. It moves around and through. And then from underneath you, one of its huge wings. And it circles and spins and continues to fly through the distance. You rise and rise until you see in front of you what looks like a street. Like an old-fashioned street. You can see gas lamps, it looks like, done in that sort of Victorian style. You see cobbles.
Kobolds?
Coming at you. No, God, no.
I was like, wait, where are we?
Cobbles coming at you out of the murk. And what it looks like is one of those rows of old Georgian terraced houses that you find in the affluent parts of London or New York. Big. So nothing, not a kind of mansion, nothing like that. Just a rows of terraced houses, beautifully facaded. You see in front of them gardens, incredibly well tended. You see the tendrils of beautiful vines and orchids leaning out over what look like wrought iron gates. And all of this.
What the cock am I looking at?
This is stunning.
What have they got plants for?
Why not?
Well, but what's the purpose of them?
They convert carbon dioxide into oxygen so they can breathe.
Yes, but we can do that much more efficiently with the chemical process.
It's actually not that much more efficient, actually, Yuria.
It is called a garden. And it's kind of like a farm, but you don't eat it. You just look at it. And it's not mushrooms.
It makes people happy.
Right.
And you
Okay.
have to hire people to make it look pretty, and then, you know, you have to look prettier than all the others and things like that.
I
As you
like it.
converse, from inside, from outside.
All the sound effects.
Everyone's woken up in the neighbourhood.
Yeah.
Your car lands on this cobbled street. You open up, the door opens up, and immediately a rush of mist enters.
Oh, it's still really misty. It's like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
It's like, like any sort of Victorian sort of like fantasy setting.
Is
There's like a base level of mist.
Is Space Dick Van Dyke out here? Please say yes.
Roll a perception check.
Do I see a chimney sweep?
Do you hear song?
What is my perception modifier now? Perception. That is an 18.
It's an 18. You listen out for the sounds of Cockney singing. What you hear actually is piped Cockney singing, just ever so slightly drifting through the leaves. Someone has made a real attempt to give a real sense of being back in the old Victorian England.
God blimey, Mary Bobbins.
You see, yeah, exactly.
Does it sound like
from Cornwall has made it in?
Does it sound like, when you're at like Pirates of the Caribbean ride or something at Disneyland, like the speakers are a little bit knackered?
No, it doesn't. No, it's beautifully smooth and very tastefully done. You almost can't hear it. It just, it's
like a memory.
Calming. Yeah, exactly. You just get that hint, and then it's gone. You don't hear it again. They only play it once or twice, just for the effect. And the door is open to you, and you're in front of one of these houses. Doesn't seem much different from any of the other ones. And as you look out of the door, the gate to the garden opens.
Tenebris, are we going to meet your friend?
Yeah, not my friend, but yes, come on. And Tenebris will walk out, make sure they're following.
Tenebris, how do we address them? What's the name request like? Is it lady? Is it what do we call them?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, okay. So you are so I think you would address her as Lady Vivargi.
Lady Vivargi.
Lady Vivargi.
Person. Or maybe the lady in third person, or if you need to distinguish, then you can call the Lady Vivargi in third person to someone else, but obviously not if she's there.
Lady Vivargi. Got it.
She won't expect you to know all the etiquette, so I guess you don't need to worry about that.
Are you okay, Tenebris?
Yeah.
You seem worried.
Is this where you used to work?
And live. Yeah.
Hey, Tenebris, it's lovely. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's very humid.
That's just the mist. That's just how it's like on the inside bits.
Oh.
Because of you have to keep the atmosphere inside the butterflies so that the space elevator and all of the central city is all good.
Right.
You've noticed since walking out into here that it is incredibly calm. Like all the wind and everything else that you felt outside, nothing, totally still. As you walk through this garden,
as we go through, I will just touch Tenebris on the shoulder and cast guidance, and be like, "Just happy to be here with you."
Yeah.
You do so,
I'll just turn back briefly and just be like, "We're just here for a visit,
right?
But there's places to stay. But we're just visiting." And then carry on.
As you do so, Infinity, the heads of some of the flowers, these big, deep purple bells with horns, not bell, horns. Both, it's the same. With stamen coming out, turn.
What?
Oh, you fucker! Oh, I couldn't deal with that.
I'm trying really hard not to look at.
I could deal with the first one. I couldn't deal with them chained together.
Stamen?
Don't worry about it, Shamini. Be pure, be innocent. You're fine.
We'll explain it to you when you're older.
Stop it. These flowers turn towards you as you cast that spell.
Hello.
Ever so slightly following you.
Tenebris, they're looking at me. I didn't think flowers could look. They turn to light sources sometimes.
Maybe they like you.
Can I look at them and see if they're real flowers?
Yeah, roll a nature check.
7.
7? Yeah, they look real.
Cool.
Around you, there's a thick scent of jasmine in the air.
Oh, it's lovely.
As you walk up this path, you see in front of you the door. These twin columns on either side, big wooden door. It looks like real wood. And then it opens, and a soft, warm glow from the inside, and a figure, tall, clad in what looked like nighttime robes, effortlessly elegant, but without seeming to try, stands silhouetted in the light. She holds out her hands. Tenebris, I'm so glad you're back. Come here, my darling, come here.
And Tenebris sort of like, kind of like is kind of stiff and kind of not looking at her. Like just walks into her arms, basically.
She puts her hands on your shoulders and kisses you on each cheek. But you know when people do that and they ever so slightly hold you away from them, just fractional, but it's just so that there's not a firm contact between you. And she kisses you on both cheeks. My darling, I'm so glad to see that you're well. And who are these lovely companions of yours?
Please, before I answer, can I make an insight check to see if I like her?
So can I do the same thing actually?
Oh God!
I just want to see. I want to see if she is treating Tenebris like a friend, because I'm expecting her to be her friend.
Actually, can I make a slightly different check simultaneously? Uriel would absolutely want to size up this person if they match. Is there anything? Is there anything like religious about them? Is there anything that strikes Uriel as being like divine about this person?
Interesting. Okay, so you make a religion check, Uriel, and then you're going to do an insight check.
If that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just check something, Ali?
Wow.
Is that level of affection? Is that like different to usual or to previously?
It is. Yes.
Okay. There's the holding back is compared to the. Okay.
I got a 23.
I got an 18.
Whoa. So, Uriel, there is nothing, it seems, divine about this person. They're human, right? Well, they're not human. They are elven, and you don't know anything really about elves. You know they exist. You've heard about them. They hold no interest to you, but you can see from her long, slender frame, from the way that she holds herself, and clearly from where you are, she must be one of the highborn. And more often than not, you've heard they've got to be elves. Infinity, you are looking for signs of friendship. And what you pick up on is that this person does not consider Tenebris a friend, but they are friendly towards them.
Okay.
However, you also pick up on something a layer of artifice in there. You don't know what it's connected to, just something doesn't feel completely genuine.
Ina Jewel.
She's the best. Leave her alone.
I heard she does car commercial.
Won't you introduce yourselves, my friends? Come on, tell me. Who do I have the pleasure of meeting on this lovely night?
Infinite Sky 6000.
Hello, Lady Vivagi. Oh, that's your name. My name is Uriel.
Uriel. Wow. What a lovely name. And Infinite Sky 6000. Surely that's not your whole name.
No, it's not.
I believe your kind tend to come with a family name, as it were. No need to say it now. I'm sure that we could all come in instead. Come in, my dears. And she leads you inside to this glorious house. And you come in, and it's whereas the car before was maybe just a little bit showy in the wealth that obviously went together to show it. It's exquisite. There's some paintings on the walls, you don't recognise them. This simple carpeting leading up the stairs, you can see that there's wood inlaid, and there's some wooden banisters and going all the way up, and what looks like a couple of, at least 4 or 5 stories up as you take a quick look going around. You look to your right, and there's a simple drawing room. A couple of couches, a few chairs, and she says, "Oh, we won't be worrying about that. Come to the kitchen. Come on. Let's have a mug of something, and just maybe you can tell me a little bit about how you got here." And she leads you in, and it's one of these big, rich person kitchens. There's an island, obviously.
Of course.
And there's like
pots and pans hanging from above the island.
Yeah.
And it
some
looks,
copper stuff,
One of those magnetic strips that the knives go on.
Oh, yeah, I love those. I want one.
everything looks like it's well used, that this is a kind of kitchen that sees constant use. And as you walk in, you see to your left a short man dressed in a little apron with a kind of stylized chef's hat on. It's not like the kind of like a cloud. It's more of a kind of slender thing that just sort of goes over the top of his head. And you can see that as they approach different parts of the countertop, which are normally set for side height, the counters lower themselves. It's almost like watching piano keys get pressed down, and like a wave as he comes into it. And he goes, and what can I get you folk? What can I get you on this this most pleasant of evenings? And Saib goes, just a tea for me, Jeremy, thank you.
I'll look to Tenebris.
Have a hot chocolate, please.
A hot chocolate for the young lady, of course.
With
so lovely to see you back.
And marshmallows. Hello, Jeremy.
Yes. And for your good self, sir, your guests.
Hello. I will also have a hot chocolate like Tenebris, please.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
I'm very excited.
I will have a water, please. Just a water. Thank you.
Of course, sir. Of course. Might I suggest the paste? We have some excellent pastes.
He's smiling again, Tenebris. No. We finally did it.
I cannot believe it.
Uriel absolutely catches themselves smiling and is like, do you have type 2?
We have types 1 through 5, but 2 will do just fine. I used to work myself in the orbital trades once upon a time. And he goes and starts rooting through different kind of cupboards and drawers and pulling out these things. And you hear the coffee and the hot chocolate and the tea start to boil. And so
what noise does the paste make?
That was amazing.
That's very good.
Oh, it's so good. It's the paste.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing. I see you, Ali Jennings. I know. I'll take it. No, it's not. No.
Okay.
And
little Easter egg for our fans.
To an oak table that looks worn and well used, and she pulls up a chair and says, "Please sit now."
I'll sit next to her.
Tell me, what brings you all to Gunka?
Infinity. I already told her the like basics, but like it's your thing. Like maybe you can explain better.
Oh yes, well, we have a mission, and it brought us to Gunka.
Maybe if I knew a little bit more, maybe I could be of some help on your mission.
I just don't know anything about you. Who are you?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought, Tenebris, you might have introduced me.
I know your name.
Well, that's a good place to start. I'm Saib Vivagi.
Yes, I know your name.
Do. And I work for the Alliance here in Gunka. Excuse me, I look after the business of some of the more consequential people in the Alliance. I'm simply here to help them achieve what they need to achieve. And Tenebris, once upon a time, helped me to do that. And who knows, maybe she will again. But in my profession, it is my business to know things. It's my business to learn about everything that I can. So it may be that I've learnt something that can help you.
Maybe.
What do you know about the Martinsbane crash?
Yes. You were from there, were you? Oh, poor boy. You survived.
I was off of Martinsbane when the incident occurred.
Really? You surprised me. Yes, Martinsbane. Well, that's a tricky one. So, of course, the Armada and their spokespeople will have it be known that it was simply a malfunction.
Impossible.
Well, funny you should say that. Now, of course, as an official spokesperson of the Alliance, I would have to tell you that due to a series of unfortunate misunderstandings and server errors, the interior of the ship became non-functional. However, as we are between friends, I hope, then perhaps I can tell you a little bit of the rumours that are flying around. We know that Martin's Bane came down right after the second of the energy pulses that we've felt in this city. We also know that no other satellite, no other orbital placement, platform, anything, no ship was brought down with that second pulse. Unlike the first one, which seemed indiscriminate in the damage that it caused.
This was no accident, this was deliberate.
And maybe you can help me, my friend, in understanding what else is important about Martin's Bane. Of course, we know that it's a shipyard. The Armada is happy for that to be known, and of course, some of us know that it did more than your daily run-of-the-mill battleship in there, that it worked on secrets, some of the Armada's secret projects. Now, if I were a betting woman, why would one bring down a station such as that to get one's hands on an everyday piece of frigate technology? It seems like maybe if there is someone or something behind these events, they were looking for something specific. But that's just a hunch, you know?
If they were looking for something, why would they crash it? That would destroy it.
Well, the inside of Martin's Bane is much tougher than you might think. A simple crash, although devastating, certainly for the people it landed on, would not damage the inner section too badly. Yes, there would be problems, but it's possible that one could salvage. Whereas attempting to enter the station when it was functioning, impossible.
I have reason to believe that the internals of Martin's Bane have probably survived the crash. There's probably some people still there, and if you have any way to help them, then I would very much appreciate if you could do that.
You see Sai looking at your arm, and then you see her reach out and she touches it. She turns it over, looking for a serial number. And she puts it back down. Yes, I hope, my dear boy, that you will find your people in there. I've heard that there were survivors. Perhaps that is a good place to start whatever quest that you feel you are on. But before you go, just know this. It is not empty anymore. Now, as soon as it landed, there were gangs roaming in there, looking for whatever they could take. Of course, they don't know things that you and I know about what's going on in the interior, but they're still dangerous. And if you were to try and enter this place, you would undoubtedly run into them eventually. But perhaps more worrying, you, of course, know of the truce. She looks at you, Uriel.
Yeah. This is presumably something that absolutely would up.
You do know about it, yeah. Let's not go down the deception pathway.
Yeah.
And she looks at the two of you. So, and to the other two of you, well, the truce says that the Armada will not set foot on an Alliance planet. That is the reddest of red lines. However, I have heard that there are Armada forces in disguise patrolling that station. And you can imagine that if the Armada are willing to go that far, whatever's inside must be worth their while.
Do you know what it is?
She sips her tea.
Maybe it is a fallen angel. Maybe the space station. Maybe Martin's Bane is like the angel, and then it fell, and now it's a fallen angel. Because
She
there
looks at you.
The jellyfish said a cult of fallen angels, and then it fell.
I'm just watching her face when Tenebris says all of this.
Sibes' face.
Yeah.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
Recognition of cult of fallen angels. If she says something, I obviously won't. I don't care. But like, I just want to see if she pretends to not know it and does.
Okay. Well, we can either roll a perception or an insight check for that.
Perception, please. It's not as good as it could be. 17.
You don't see any recognition.
Okay.
What is this fallen angels? Is that part of something that you're doing?
Part of our new job that we have, that our important job. That is one of the things that we have to like investigate and find out about to Infinity really, but Uriel and I we are also part of the team. That's one of the things that we have to investigate and uncover everything that's like going on,
What exactly were you asked to investigate, if I might ask?
That's all they said. Like, look for what did they say?
There was a dangerous new power in Gunka, the cult of fallen angels.
It's just stopping a cult.
They did also say that we needed your help.
The cult of fallen angels?
They actually just said to find you.
I can't remember the last time someone mentioned the cult of fallen angels. It's an old wives' tale. It's very strange. What was your friend telling you to look for that for? I mean, it's ghosts and witches. And
they did say one more thing. They said that to tell you we were sent by those that crystallized the rock.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remember this.
I made notes.
Damn.
My notes for the last session are so bad.
It's just, what the fuck?
It saves the day.
Scribbles.
Wow.
You met the Watchers, my friends. You're very privileged indeed. I thought they were all but shut down, drifted off into the blackness. Yes, those who crystallized the rock, the machines that first made Braxigantu livable, that allowed us to come here. And one of the Watchers is telling you to search for the cult of fallen angels. And you were supposed to come to me. I'm supposed to help you with this.
You said it was an old wives' tale. I'd love to hear it.
Oh, there's nothing to tell, my dear. It's just tales of magic and sorcery, and in this time we don't believe such things. It's something to scare children, something to scare the children of the rich, people who fear nothing anymore. The cult of fallen angels.
Like you.
Oh yes, I'm very scared of it.
Maybe some people have taken this name and they're using it to, I don't know, do whatever bad things they're doing. And they know that if they say that that's what they're called, everyone will be like, that's not a real thing. So, it's like a really good disguise. But the Watcher jellyfish said that you know the people and the politics. Well, of course you do. You know everything that happens here. Like, no one else could help as much. And, we have brought you the artifact, that I showed you. Takes it out and holds it out.
Wow. This is quite extraordinary. I've heard rumours of this.
Really?
So, and she holds out her hand.
I give it to her.
She takes it.
Infinity tenses slightly.
From all sides. This, I believe, is part of a pattern. Now, there are rumours that artifacts such as these, alien in origin are being brought illegally into Gunka. Now, I have never seen them, but I have heard that the mannequin hand are those tasked with smuggling these items, but no one knows where they come from and no one knows where they go. I cannot look any further for reasons that I cannot go into now, but if you wished to follow this, perhaps you could go down to their headquarters in the docks. It's likely something that Jada Strang will be in charge of. I suggest you start there at least if you want to follow that thread.
I know you would know some useful things.
Very useful.
There's probably not going to be any more of them coming, though.
Well, who knows? Maybe that will be what you would like to find out. As she's doing that, she's looking at you, Uriel, very intently. And then she, quick as a flash, it's almost instantaneous. The artifact is right next to your face. And her face is just behind it. She's watching you very, very intently. Then you feel her lift your hand up, your metal hand. Do you resist?
Would you resist in this situation? No, they wouldn't.
Infinity is like, you can see the things like twitching about to turn into Shillelagh. In her arm, there's like, the screens are kind of shifting slightly.
Brings your hand into contact with this crystal and she moves it around ever so slightly. It's almost like a sort of masseuse, just shifting it into position. And then you feel on the tips of your metal fingers the crystals very slowly start to shape themselves around your hand. It's almost imperceptible. You couldn't see it with your eyes, but you're feeling it happen. And you feel energy rush through your arm into the core of your body. You feel what is in D&D terms an extra key point enter your core.
Ooh.
But as Uriel, you simply sense a burning sensation of energy inside you.
Wait, are you telling me that that's been in this thing this whole time?
You're idiots.
It may even be able to do more. I don't know, but this is certainly something of great power.
If you throw it on the floor, it like...
I'm not surprised.
Don't
now,
throw it on the floor.
It's getting late. This is a lot for anyone to take in. I suggest you stay here, sleep where you will. I'll have some of the servants make up a bed for you too, and perhaps Tenebris, you'd like your old room. Remember what I've said, but just this cult of fallen angels. I want to help, but I don't know what I think you need me to know, but there is someone who might. Someone who deals exclusively in knowledge. Someone whose whole business is stories and histories. The Archivist.
Oh, good name.
And where do we find the Archivist?
You'll find them where all the stories are. In the network.
Oh, no.
But I do have to say one thing. You won't find them. You will have to... you'll have to bait them. They will come if you provide the right incentive. And with that, she claps her hands ever so slightly. The bangles around her wrists jingle softly. And two servants appear and lead you all out of the kitchen, upstairs, and through the dimly lit house, the soft furnishings around you, to the top floor. Slightly less opulent, slightly more worker oriented. And you're all set to sleep in separate rooms. And only Tenebris, you are back in your old chamber. The view out the same as it always was. And with that, we'll leave it for tonight.
I am unsure what to think.
I hate her. I just hate her. That fight's gonna be good.
She's such a civil servant.
Such a civil servant. Have we got a pearl of power, Ali? Have we had a pearl of power the whole goddamn time? Is that what it is? Kind of like an uber pearl of power.
They don't do that, do they? They do something
Not
else.
key points, but similar-ish vibes of like give some stuff. Anyway.
What happens if Euro eats it?
Try. We find out.
What if I like
First...
break bits off? Like, like in the middle of fights, I'm just like, constantly casting burning hands. Wow, that was a lot, Ali.
Epic start to
that
how
was
things are gonna
insane.
go on.
So much knowledge.
We ramped up the intensity, haven't we, here? Which I'm very much enjoying.
I'm here for it.
Really hope that you will all be joining us for the rest of the chapter. We are going to be streaming every Monday on Twitch from 7 p.m.
UK time.
UK time, thank you. It'll be pre-recorded for a few weeks, and then we will jump back to live, and we might sprinkle a few other exciting streams in there as well, to keep an eye on our social media to find out when those will be.
Yeah.
And also give us some suggestions about what extra streams you'd like to see us do, because basically we would like to try and hit the affiliate status on Twitch, and to do that we need to get a few more streams in a month.
Because we've got a new Twitch channel.
Yeah, we should probably mention that.
Yeah, we're not streaming on Simon's Twitch
on.
channel anymore. We're streaming on our own. It's RPGeeks DnD. Come follow us. Come join the crew.
Please do. And we are also at RPGeeks DnD on
the TikToks,
Twitter,
the Instagrams,
Instagram,
the Twitters,
YouTube,
times,
or just search RPGeeks on podcast, and we will pop up in various podcast places. Forgotten anything?
The merch, buy t-shirts, buy hoodies. I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
Emily's just like becoming Laura Bailey. That is what Emily really wants here.
If Travis Willingham would like to get in touch, my number is
awesome.
I didn't even think of that, but yes, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I very much. It's like, and let me tell you about our merch. And I'm like,
rpgeeks.tmail.com.
But I think that is it. So thank you very, very much for tuning in. We will be back next week, and we're going to get into a whole heap more trouble. I feel like this is going to get worse before it gets better.
So good.
But thank you very much for watching. We will see you, and you'll hear us next week. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
And Twitch chat. There's no point in us staying here, though.
Hang on, wait, but you get to hear the fun. You get to hear the fun.
Recording stopped.
Recording stopped. Recording stopped.
You Twitches.
Please keep your hands inside the vehicle.
We hope you're all really well. Wow, that was terrifying. I forgot how much I enjoy me and Simon messaging each other through streams and being like, lol, stop
Purple
it.
helmets with stamen coming out. Oh my god.
Purple bells.
Yeah.
And I heard balls, and oh god, it was bad. It was bad.
That was bad, to be fair, and I didn't until I said it.
It wasn't deliberate.
I just want to say that the opening scene with the flashback of Martin's Bane was the most stunning thing.
Oh my goodness! With the plasma around their head,
like just also
the visuals.
It was so good.
Ali and I have had a few very interesting chats about some of the lore behind this.
So excited.
I bet you guys are so good. So good.
That was so
right,
fun.
but we'll get into like that was a lot of setup. So now we can get into like some serious action. So, like,
Best Fate Weaver.
You guys.
Thank you, Fate Weaver.
Thank you, Fate Weaver.
It's like when you're going to like park run. It's like, thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Fate Weaver.
Thank you, Fate Weaver.
Yeah, holy crap. Okay. Well, there is not much point in staying here because obviously we're not live. We cannot read chat. Great joke,
well,
Dandy.
We can. But just future us.
Yeah. Somebody else gifted some subs. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's really kind. We don't have that ability yet. We
no, not on this channel. We don't. Yet. Oh, damn it! They know it's not being recorded.
We're gonna be doing our number of streams to get us to affiliate, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. But that is it. I think genuinely, we have got to go to bed, and we will be back next week. So we hope that you enjoyed this. We are certainly having a whale of a time doing it, and we look forward to seeing you then. So once again,
also we're officially agreed to do it. Buy tickets for New Scientist Live. RPGeeks are going to be there.
I haven't announced
on the
that
Sunday.
Yet, but I did see that it's on the website.
It is there now. We are there.
Yeah.
It's happened. I told them today.
Are we official?
Wait, when was it on the website? I only officially told them today.
I googled RPGeeks today, and
I think it was on yesterday. I think because I had a working stream the other day, and I was looking through the schedule, and Captain Reed worked out what website I was looking at, even though it was blurred and in the background.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So,
yeah,
it was then.
Spoilers. You can not only see Simon on the Saturday doing his lovely talk and probably talking to me afterwards. I'm not actually sure what's happening with that. And then I don't know. I'll be there the whole weekend because
I'm doing some book signings. That's what's happening afterwards.
Oh, you're doing a book signing. Yeah. And then on the Sunday, the closing act of the entire festival is RPGeeks live show. New jeans, please.
Can we get a Foley artist? Can we please get a Foley artist as part of it?
A Foley artist?
That'll be me.
Someone making all the sounds for us.
And it's what great. It's just
because all you have to do is be like, your giraffe has now got some jellyfish DNA, and we all look at the Foley artist, and he's he's looking through the box of parts. What do I have that sounds like a jellyfish?
New Jeans Please is insane and so fun, and if you can make it, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah,
family friendly as well.
And no, when this goes out, no, the early bird tickets will be gone by then. So no. But,
brutal.
Brutal.
Nice.
Sorry, that is it. They end on Sunday, although they might be being extended for a day because of situations that have happened in the world today. So actually, maybe you might have today. You might still have time. Check live.newscientist.com.
I will tweet it.
Quick.
It's now before the time, so I will tweet it.
Yes.
I'll do a tweet announcement tomorrow. Remind me if I forget.
Yeah, will do.
Not you, chat. It'll be the past.
Once and for all, I am drawing a close to this.
We're going.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See you later.
Bye.